What's up, Facebook family? Hey, it's Dr. Mitzi Joy, your board certified neurologist and multiple sclerosis specialist, and I'm coming to you live from my office this evening, and I hope everybody is doing well. I am listening to one of my favorite artists today, BJ the Chicago Kid. He can do no wrong to me. I love pretty much every song he's made. I think he has an amazing voice and I really like his style. So BJ the Chicago Kid is on my playlist today. And I hope that everyone had a wonderful weekend. I am recovering from a very hectic birthday celebration last week. For those of you who've been following me, I plan to post some pictures and some videos of my amazing birthday celebration this past week. I honestly was so busy that I did not get a chance to post very much. And so it was just, it was just amazing, just filled with love and family and friends and people I haven't seen in a very long time, and it was just so amazing, and I was glad to be able to spend that time with family, with my husband and my mom and brother and all of those great people who've impacted my life so much. And kind of in line with that, I was thinking I want to get on tonight and talk just for a few minutes about the importance of a support system, not just for people living with multiple sclerosis and chronic illness, but for all of us, really. You know, we have this saying about how it takes a village to raise a child, and I always say it takes a village to take care of people living with MS, but really it takes a village for all of us. We can't do this, live this life effectively and walk in all that we're called to do by ourselves. We need other people. Hey April, thank you for logging on. I hope that you are doing great. I was just talking a little bit about my wonderful birthday celebration this weekend. My husband threw me a surprise party, hey Dr. Andrea, which was amazing. We had some friends that were flying in town, and I guess I just have been so busy doing all these great things, doing my live stream, working on becoming a bona fide medical mogul, and working and seeing my patients and doing my research, that I really did not pick up any of the signs that he was throwing me this surprise party. So apparently my husband had been planning this party for 6 months, and I had just totally knew nothing was going on until this week. I started to see some little signs, and I was like, maybe he's planning something, but just kind of brushed it to the side. And next thing you know, on Saturday, we went out with some friends and went out to dinner, and I thought we were going dancing, and to my surprise, I walked into a venue with a room full of my family and friends. People had flown from New York and Chicago, and people had driven from South Carolina, North Carolina, driven from all over to celebrate my birthday. So it was truly a surprise and truly amazing. And we danced and danced and danced. I'm still recovering from all that dancing, but I'm just very excited to be celebrating life. And I think that, as I came on this milestone birthday last week, I really began to think about the importance of support and the importance of the people that are around you. So many times we think about, it's nothing wrong with patting ourselves on the back for all the amazing things that we're doing, but it's also important to recognize that we need other people, that, God places people in our lives to support us, to give us advice, to help us walk out this journey. And it's so important to just keep that in mind and not forget that we do need other people. So in thinking about that, I was thinking about my patients today and how we talk so much, or how I counsel a lot about the importance of care partners, and how I talk about the importance of having people who can support you. I think that it's important to have different types of support. So for some of us who may be married, we have spouses who are support. My husband is amazing. I can bounce things off of him and talk to him about things. But then I also have girlfriends, right? I have friends, so you have people who can kind of empathize with you to a certain extent, but you also have people who understand where you are. So it's not just important to have people around you, like family members and friends, that you've known for a long time. But it's also important to have people around you that know your condition, that you can identify with, who have a shared experience with you, because they may be able to relate to you in certain ways that maybe a spouse or a significant other can't relate to you if they're not in that same situation. For instance, for many of my patients who are working mothers, I'm a working mother, we're able to identify on a certain level and discuss things that we may not be able to discuss with some of our other friends or with, our spouses or significant others. So when we talk about a team and building a team, there are many components to a team. So for instance, if we're talking about the healthcare setting for people who are living with MS, some of those team members include different doctors. So people will have a neurologist, depending on what signs or symptoms they have of their illness, they may have other doctors who participate in their care. So for instance, I have some people who have bowel and bladder issues, they may see a urologist. I have some people that may have difficulty dealing with depression or anxiety, they may have a psychiatrist. And then I have some people who also, and everybody needs a primary care doctor. So, there are many people who are part of that team. But aside from a healthcare team, it's also important to have a support system at home outside of that team. And that's important for a couple of reasons. One being because emotional support is needed, whether you have MS or not. We all go through difficulties in life, and we all go through challenges, and we need people to help walk alongside us, to help us get through those challenges. Hey, Shantae, we need people that we can talk to, that we can lean on, that we can cry on their shoulder, that we can bounce ideas off of, who will give us, good advice, give us honest advice and feedback, and who will walk with us whether we make the right decision or whether we make the wrong decision. So, in talking about having a support system, we need people that will walk alongside us in this journey called life. So sometimes, as I said, for some people, they have a spouse or a significant other who provides a certain type of support. But I think that also it's important to have, as I said, people who know where you're coming from, who know your situation. And for my patients living with MS, I challenge them not only to have friends and family members that they talk to, but also to have a support community of other people with MS who may be in the same condition or be in the same situation that they're in. I think that one of the difficulties, especially with multiple sclerosis, is that everybody is different. So there are some people who have very little disability from their disease. There are some people who have a lot of disability from their disease. There are some people who developed a lot of disability very early on due to some severe relapses or maybe a delay in treatment. And then there's some people that are 20 years into diagnosis that are walking around and functioning almost normally, or sometimes pretty much normally without symptoms. So I think one of the challenges is that when people identify with friends or family members that have MS, sometimes they get discouraged because if they don't have a lot of disability, maybe they've seen a family member suffer very severely from the disease and have a lot of disability. And so they fear that that's how they will end up. And as a result, they may shy away from being involved with other people who have MS. And then on the converse, if someone has a lot of disability very early on, they may not be able to identify with somebody who is 20 years into diagnosis and maybe is still walking around and doing lots of things. I have one patient that I was talking to a couple of weeks ago who's been diagnosed with MS for 20 years, and she won a stair climbing race. Can you believe that? I didn't know that people raced up the stairs. I actually tend to huff and puff when I get up the stairs, but there are some people who race up the stairs, and so that person may not be able to identify with someone else. I think that the most important thing, though, is to be diligent, right? To be diligent and not just give up if you can't find initially one person that you identify with or one person that's on the same journey as you. I think that like MS, with many other conditions or illnesses that we have, or even challenges that we faced in life, whether it's dealing with challenges with children, dealing with challenges with marriages, everybody's journey and everybody's path is a little bit different. But I do truly believe that God places people in our lives that can really just walk out this this journey with us and help us, even if they can't exactly identify with every specific thing that we're going through. So I encourage people to have care partners and to have care partners be a part of their medical team. And the reason that that's important is because sometimes people that are around you, people that know you and love you and spend a lot of time with you, may notice things about you that you may not notice. You know, they may notice if you're stressed out more or if you're forgetting things more. For my people or my patients living with MS, they may notice if you're stumbling more when you're walking. They may remember if you have difficulty remembering things or if they have to tell you things over and over again. And just know that when people are telling you that you're having these problems, it's not necessarily because they're telling on you or because they want you to do poorly, but it's honestly because they love you and they want you to get and seek the help that's necessary. So oftentimes a patient will come into the office and they'll come with a husband or a spouse or significant other. And so I will sit down in the chair and say, well, hey, how are you doing? And they're like, I'm doing great. And their spouse is like, no, they're not doing well. And so oftentimes the person initially may get a little bit upset about that person telling on them, but oftentimes after we kind of get through the conversation, we realize that there are some challenges they may have forgotten about, right? So when people are telling on you when you go to the doctor's office, it's not necessarily in a malicious sense, but it's really to make sure that the doctor is getting all the information needed in order to make a good decision plan. You know, there are other instances where I have patients who come by themselves all the time, and I ask them how they're doing. They say great. And then maybe 6 months later, you know, a family member or a care partner will come in and be like, well, they've been having all of these challenges and issues, and they didn't tell me anything about it. And so as a result, we have to change our treatment plan because now we have additional information. And I would encourage you, if you have any chronic illness or issues, bring somebody with you to the doctor's office because they may notice things that you may not have picked up on, and they may be able to provide some extra insight. Also, it's important because sometimes they can remember things for you when you leave. When you go to the doctor's office, you're sitting there, they may be giving you information about laboratory results, about a diagnosis, about medication changes. And it never hurts to have an extra pair of ears and an extra pair of eyes because you can't soak it in sometimes all of the time. You know, so having that extra person there, they'll say, well, this is what the doctor said. You know, let's not forget to do this. Sometimes they can take notes for you while you're in the visit. So it's just very helpful to remember that we're all a part of a team. And so that pretty much is most of what I wanted to say today. That just was kind of on my heart and on my mind as I was reflecting on this birthday that I had and all the wonderful people that God has placed in my life as a support, you know, that I can bounce things off of and talk to about things and kind of share my challenges and my victories with. You know, we all need that support, and we all need that extra hand and that extra pair of eyes and those extra ears, and sometimes those extra arms for a hug, you know, and those extra shoulders to cry on. So I hope that everyone is having an amazing, amazing day. As I said, this was going to be short because I'm still recovering from my party this weekend. We had an amazing time, and we just danced, and I had so many people around me that I love, and it just was an amazing experience. So I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next week. Tune in next week. I'm thinking about changing my time to Wednesday nights. I haven't quite decided, but I might change my time to Wednesday nights, but we'll see. I'll make sure that I post before I do my next live stream. Thank you, April. Thank you. Happy birthday. Thank you for my birthday wishes. You know, so I will make sure that I post before I go live next week, and I'll let you guys know if I change the time. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Check me out on social media. Please follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Google+. Dr. Mitzi Joy MD is my handle, and I will be looking forward to doing some more live videos. Hey Sheila, be doing some more live videos, posting other information about some of the projects that I'm doing. I'm doing a lot with diversity and inclusion with clinical trials, and a great win. I did have 4 of my posters accepted to our European conference. So I have 4 posters, most of them about diversity issues with multiple sclerosis, whether it be patients, adherence to therapy, as well as some posters about medication responses in different patient populations. So I'm very excited about all 4 of those posters. I am first author on 2 of those posters, so I guess I'll have to be in 2 places at the same time during those presentations. But I'm very excited and blessed to have some of my research being recognized, and I look forward to publishing some papers related to that. So again, I'm Dr. Mitzi Williams. I'm your board certified neurologist and multiple sclerosis specialist, and I have a particular research interest in diversity inclusion and clinical trials, as well as looking at MS and minority ethnic populations. So stay tuned for next week's episode. Same bat time, I guess, same bat channel. Hey Sheila, thanks for logging in. And I love you guys, and I hope you have an amazing evening. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.